to watch for. But what we got is when you look at it from like a support and resistance level, that's always there. You're always going to be able to pick that out in the market. And with that being said, we'll get right into it. So generally when I'm in the morning and I'm looking for support and resistance, you know, if we're playing on day trades, or we're playing on and the market is just ranging, it's not quite as critical to look out on a larger time frame. But what it is if we're looking at the overall market, then that's why we need to go back to like the 4-hour chart, and we need to start setting up, and we need to look at, you know, okay, where's the highs and where's the lows. Normally you want to look on lower time frames to pick out the closer support and resistances, because the closer ones are basically where you're at, and they'll tell you what's happening. But I've had it happen where I haven't went out far enough, and I wonder, well, why did the stock stop here? And it's because I missed a higher line support and resistance. And if you can look at, see, this is on the 4-hour chart, and just to show you, now we may not hit some of these for a while, but it's important that you do jump out to this level. And then so what I'll do is I'll go out here, okay, and it's not a bad idea to take your like a horizontal line and just put that at the very top, and at basically on the very bottom of your line. I mean, hopefully we're not going to hit 3480 for quite a while, right? But that gives me a border going all the way back to 2021, you know, a high, a low. Now if it breaks either one of these, then I can look at going in a little bit closer and kind of micro analyzing and go back and reset new lows or reset new highs. So that set my general barrier. But now I'll jump back in to say we'll go to the 1 hour. And I need to do this first before we start talking about what's going to be the next level of how we trade it. So then when I look at the 1 hour, okay, so there's my high at say 48.12 back then. We got the next one, and for these I'm just going to set alerts. And the way you set alert with TradingView is you go over here to the right hand side, you push the button, and it says add alert on SPX 4631, say 28, which is going to be close enough. We're also going to have one which is right here, and which is pretty close to pretty close. I'm just about expecting the market, you know, if we don't drop here, we might see that. So it's 45.16 is what it at. I'm going to have to analyze it a little closer on the next one, and you see we're already above that. And then some of my next lower ones would be well, there's going to be a few steps here, and what we're going to do is we're going to look at let's see, I already have one set there. We're going to set one 41.68, and that's going to be close enough. And there's also one right here, but we're going to pick that up on the next screen. So as I drop into say a 15-minute screen, we're going to grab this bottom right here. This is 43.29. And at the same time, I look to see whether you know, going to a smaller time frame, how accurate I am. You know, I may decide that, okay, this one here is, you know, this 43.64, maybe that's not right. Maybe I need to bring that down a little bit more, which I will. Okay. And then this one here, this low. Okay, now I'm going to have to bring that. Yeah, okay, so she's closed. Okay, so then we jump back to the, say, let's go to the 3-minute, and then I can start explaining to you really support and resistance and how things work with it. So as a general rule, your stock is going to go up and down, or not as a general, that's just the way it works. She goes up and down. She'll either trend up, or she'll trend down, or she'll get into ranging. And ranging is, we can look at, I'm just going to pick this out for you. So you notice the stock bounces, say on this line. That's your basically your support line, 44.40. So it comes down close to this and it bounces, and when it gets up to, see, look at these points here, it gets up to here, it bounces down. Now when you have two options at this point. You know, if the market's trending up, you're looking at it crossing and going up, but you always want to see it jump up and confirm, touch back on that resistance line, which will then become support and go up. Now let me try to find an example of that. Some people will play a bit of a play inside the range itself. So you'll buy it, you won't know that that it's ranging until probably the second time it happens. So it goes up to basically resistance, comes back to this point, and many times you'll hear me and Scott will talk about, okay, well, it should bounce here, and that's usually what it is. It's pulling back to a resistance level. But this would give you the option of running it back up, gets into this area, and you have to be concerned that okay, it's going to bounce if it doesn't break out of resistance. The more times it hits resistance, the better chance it is going to break out and above, and she's going to go higher. And the same way on the way down, the more times it hits the bottom side, the support, there's a good chance it's going to break through. You also want to check your market and see which way, you know, like we're just looking at SPX right now and see which direction is going. If it does, if the market's trending down, you don't want to play against the trend. I'll find a few other examples for you. I know there's a few questions. Before I get too far ahead, let me see. What role does volume play in my thought process? Will rise to determine if stock will rise. Volume is important. I mean, you'll see volume will spike up, you know, in the morning, and volume, when you're seeing big plays and you're seeing lots of volume, there's a good chance that it's going to push through. And lots of times, if I can find an example here, see, well, you had big volume here. It usually what it'll do is, let me jump over to a different stock that might explain that a little bit better. I mean, volume is something you kind of want to watch for too. But see, like here's, you know, good volume. I don't watch. I like to see lots of volume, because the more volume you has means that we're going to make bigger moves, and they're more positive moves. Whereas if you start to see a big move and there's no volume, it looks more like a fake out. Like let's see on the bottom of the chart here, you can kind of see these are the volume candles down at the bottom as the volume indicator, and you can see that okay, we're going along, market opens up, and bang, the volume spikes. And as soon as the volume spikes, you know, and green volume, so we know that we're going to have an upside, and it's looking fairly strong as you go up. And then of course, you know, it'll change to a bit of a green, and you'll get buying, selling as you go. So even this, we can use this as a bit of a, so we bounced here, and more than likely this is probably a good, okay, yeah, you see this somewhere around this area, 404.70, 405 has been a good area for support. So we hit it a couple times, we didn't break it. We also broke a trend line right here. Okay, she didn't quite confirm over it, but she didn't drop back below our support, and then she finally went. So that wouldn't be a good trend line break, but there's a lot better examples that we covered on our last video. but it didn't actually break back below the trend line, or it didn't break back below our support. But I'm trying to find you a good example of where it's going to bounce. And the other day when we were playing shop, and it was actually this day, it was on Wednesday, and Wednesday at 8:15, I was looking at the chart and shop was dropping, or actually be 10:15. And this basically would have been your support. You see it keeps going down to this 63 level, and bounces and bounces, and it bounced there, broke below a little bit, come back up. And I was watching here when it hit this, and I was saying to Scott, on live, I said, well, if it bounces, there's a good chance we're going to get a run up. But if it breaks below, because it already hit it how many times, 5, 6, 7 times, you'd buy in here. But if it drops below, let me just amplify this a little bit now that you've seen the big picture. If it drops below this, we're going to want to look at getting out. Whereas this would have been a good entry at 63, I think it was 63.30 at that point. And if it dropped below 63, that's where we wanted to get out. And it went up. It never did drop low enough that would have took you out on your 20% stop line or stop loss, or below the trend line where we said you should get out. And it ran up to 64.59. You probably would have been out somewhere around here. You would have seen, though, at 64.68, you're starting to get into another resistance level, which would have been right here, basically, because you can see on these candles that this is basically where it is. So once you set your trailing stop and you're 20% up, and you're setting your trailing stop at your break even, and it keeps following you up, I mean, there's a good chance it might even have taken you out here. You'd have still been up your probably 20% from here to there, and then it would have pulled back. If you wouldn't have had a trailing stop and you're waiting for it to drop the actual below the support line, you might have stayed in longer, and you might have been able to catch more of this. There's nothing easy about trading, but some of the stuff that some of the rules or guidelines that are in place is going to help you make money. When you're watching support and resistance, and you're watching for bounces at support and your entries, that makes everything much different. Now you see over here, this is actually where 63, this is where it came down. It actually hit 63. It tried to hold at 63, and it couldn't. So it dropped. So really what support is at this level, you have a lot of people wanting to buy, institution buyers, and it's usually right at a regular point, like 63, 63.25, 63.50, 63.75, generally, unless it's big institutions, taking big portions. But so right here, you basically ran out of buyers, and that's why it dropped. Same as when you hit a high point, you've ran out of sellers, an upper trend line, and so basically that's why it breaks through resistance. Now I want to give you an example of what you want to watch for when you do break above. Let me see if I can find something on our chart. Yeah, let's see. Apple is usually a really good one for. Apple will hold and will hold really good, and then when she does break, then she does break. Okay, so let's kind of zoom in here. This is probably a very good. You see all the trend lines and stuff I've had drawn, watching for previous breaks, and waiting to see if I get something in the future, but I'll remove them. And let me just show. Let's just look for a break here. Okay, so if I was to say right here we have this is basically going to be right around this level is going to be our support level or our resistance level. So it worked in this range, it dropped, it come back, and I'm looking for it to break above. So if I figure, okay, right in this range, what is that, 190, 150, which kind of fits. 190, 150 is with Apple is going to be very important because Apple always likes to, a fixed number or 25 cents or 50 cents. So if I would have had a point set here I'd have been watching here at this level, 190, 150, come up, touched it, and see, you notice it already hit it first. It come back, came up, hit it again. My next strike at it, it didn't pull back as far. So that would lead me to believe, okay, we're breaking down the sellers here. So this pullback was bigger. This pullback was less. So there's a good chance that we're going to actually break through this. So the next time, and many times it's the third time we hit a support resistance level that you're going to break through, and basically a support level on the way down also. It's usually 3 times, sometimes it's a lot more depending how many buyers and sellers, but I've seen it do this, and you'll get it as a general rule. It'll come up, it'll come back down, it supports it, and this is where I like, as it comes back and touches the support, this is where I like to buy, and then you can catch the ride up. If it didn't, then okay, I broke the 190, 150. I need to get out at this time because more than likely we're going to start to go down once you start breaking below this level. That's one of the strategies I always watch for while I'm dealing with while I'm working with Scott on this stuff. Okay, let me just say, do you paying for TrainView to see it live is easier to use on a laptop than it is on your phone? So I have the professional one because I've got, as you can see behind me, I'm running numerous charts besides the chart I'm working off of right here. There's a basic one there's a basic TradingView, and that TradingView is free. But if you want real-time ES, and a couple of them, you need to pay for an upgraded monthly subscription to get it, so that you have real-time data. Now, I know it's on ES and a lot of other ones, and I think you might have to do that on. I don't know if you could. I'm gonna have to check into that and get back to you on that. For that, it's been so long. But I know ES is one that I pay monthly for, and I think it is that you have your market, whether it's the TSE in Canada, but whatever markets like the Chicago board, whatever the general one is, the NASDAQ and things like that. You'd have to go in and look at the plans, but I just basically pay for that, and then I pay for because I can run as many indicators I want, which you normally don't need as many indicators. But TradingView on a phone is really hard to watch because you can't zoom out, you can't see what's happening, on a big scale. Like whereas here we're looking for, okay, now my next resistance line is going to be 122.50. My next, support 190, 135, and then I can go back and look and see how many times it's touched, and that makes a big difference. If you can't zoom out like this, because this is what gives you the big picture. Then you look at a bigger level because you're looking at such a small point here. When you see the bigger moves and a big move going up and a fast move going up into resistance, there's a good chance it might just do a minor bounce off and fire through. So you need to look at it on a big scale. It's harder on a small scale like that, but it's definitely doable. If that's what you're thinking about. Let me just run through here. Okay. So, yeah. So anyway, so yes, let me just get a couple of questions here. I hope that kind of answered for it. If you want up to the minute, otherwise it's delayed information on your chart. If you're playing a little bit longer swings or you're listening to us, it's not so bad. But if you want to see minute by minute what's happening, then you really need to, or it's good if you know exactly, so you're buying the proper information. I've always got my screen up, so you're seeing kind of what's happening, and I'm looking for trying to manage the trades that are called out. So if I see something dropping, and we'll call out levels, and we'll do what we can to make it easier for you. So let me just see. There's a rule that if prices touches support and resistance, that will break. No. Sometimes it'll hit it numerous times. Like I showed you that example with Shop, where she kept hitting it, and then it wasn't until yesterday. But mind you, I will show you that what it is interesting to show you how important our support and resistance levels are. This is the call out I said on Wednesday. It came back to retouch it on Thursday. Now, would I tried that again? Would I got back in? No. And the reason I wouldn't have done that, even though it bounced off, is because the market was dropping. The general market was coming down. If the market's going down, which when I say general market, you're looking at all these tickers, NVIDIA, you're looking at Tesla, SPX, which is kind of your heartbeat, SPX ES, which is kind of your heartbeat of the market. If they're going down, you're almost guaranteed to break this to the downside. If they're going up, there's a good chance that you're going to break resistance on the upper level, right? But I think that's what I said. But the support right here, if the market's trending down, you might have only hit this twice. See, it even came back, it bounced, and this actually I'll show you in the 1 minute. Let me just take her to the 1 minute, and I'll show you how it. Okay, so when it hit that level, okay, so that'd be right here. This is what it called out the other day. You can see it went up, but here, so you're coming back to support. She bounces, tries it again, bounces, tries again, bounces, comes off. But the market is going down. There's nothing good about that market yesterday. And that's what I was talking with our pre-market. It's I don't like this market. And the problem was the market was reversing, and it was hanging on all these on lines like this all over the market. We were hanging on these basically lower support lines, and that it's just a matter of time before it's going to break down. Now, if you get stock with strong news, then you're going to see that the market is, something will work differently in the market. So like Netflix will have changed, laid off people, and it goes up, or Netflix will have, added 1 million new subscribers. That thing is going to pop, and it's going to keep going because it's got good news, and it'll go complete opposite as what the market is. Boeing does the same thing, Boeing does, BABA does, but of course that's a Japanese thing too. But there's that depends on their market and what's happening over there too. Is there any other question? Does that make sense to a lot of guys? I know that I'm trying to get my point across, and it's hard when you know it. You don't give everybody. How can I put it to you? You don't. I may not be anticipating everything you guys are thinking, or good questioning and any stuff. See, another thing I'll show you here too is, even though this was a support line right here, you've seen when we came down to that previously, we came down slowly. We came down. You kind of come down, and it kind of zigzags down to that support. When you have something like this, where she's coming down hard and fast, you have a better chance that you're going to break through it also. So that's something to look through. But if it's coming down slowly, the market is just digesting everything as it goes, there's a good chance it's going to pop back up. But when it actually comes down like this, where it just, the market's falling, quick bounce, and the rest of the market's looking not good. I mean, that's just two more reasons why to think that this is going to go down. So that would have been a good short position. Once it broke here, and we broke below these levels, you can see that this would have been a great trade, because it hadn't basically been over or that low, since over here. Most times it doesn't like being that low. Now, if you did take it, so let's say, for example, we took that one to the, let me just check something here. Let's say, for example, we did take this one to the downside. Okay. Where would we, so here was our support. My next spot I would have looked at was, okay, here was your next resistance, 62, blew completely through that. So we would maybe, our next one would have been 62.50. Okay. And now we've been blowing right through it until we get to here. Look at this. Isn't this interesting? Our lowest support level on our chart, and that's where it actually hit and bounced. So if it broke below, I would expect it to have stopped here or stopped here. So now I know we got, I think we're running out of time. So I think we got time for a few quick questions here, but let me check, guys. Okay, no, sounds good. Now, any other questions, anyone, or does that make sense to you? Because that's really what you want to do, is you want to look for, on a bigger time scale, where's it bounced? Look for it to do that. You want to look at our last training session on trend lines, because they're going to come into play many times with that. There's a lot of good information here and we're happy to answer any questions and help you guys out wherever you can. So that wraps us up here at 6. Well, I guess, what is it? 8:30. If anybody has any questions, that's great. If not, we'll cut this, and then next time we will do. Okay. Well, actually, one more question, Kyle. Do you see the 1 day candles at all to set your levels? Do I see the 1 day candles to set? I do go to them sometimes, but it all depends. In fact, ES is the one I was using on the longer time frame, so I will do that. If I'm not happy with what I'm seeing on the 4 hours, or I'm seeing things outside of the range on the 4 hours, for the amount of time it goes, I go to, back to the daily, and the daily is going to say, well, 35.56. We get back there, that's going to be way back. My 4 hour range covers my highs and lows. If I'm missing my highs, like if the market was trending up the whole time and I don't have a high, then I will, like an outer high, like when I go to the 4 hours. If I don't have I don't have a high limit, then I'm definitely going to go back. If I don't have a limit like this, say, at 46.27 range, and then I think over here, yeah, see it right there, 48.05. So we're already a couple hundred points above the market. I'll go to the daily to set trend lines, to start trend lines, but I don't really set. It's kind of unrealistic at this point, even though you can set them up and their alerts will trigger somewhere later. I'm not concerned quite yet, because I'm not anywhere near there, and I've already picked a high and a low. It'd be just as easy to go here and say, okay, well, let's pick that 48, but I think I grabbed it on the 4 hour anyway. But it just gives you more information. It gives you more settings you can set in Trading View. It gives you more. The more information you got, the better. That's really what it's all about, right? So there's nothing wrong with looking at 1 minute. Okay, I'm using TD Ameritrade a lot. What time frames do you use for that? On Trading View, you're just clicking like on 5 minutes, 1 hour. Is it a 5 minutes on 5 days or 30 days from when you? Well, as I compress it, I'm compressing everything up tight, and I'm looking for ranges. But let's say we're here's the thing: are we talking short swing trades? Are we talking what are we talking? If we're going to look at something and say, when we set up for the day, and I've already set my lines, I'm on 3 minutes, and I'm looking at I only need to see about 2-3 days out, because that's what I'm looking, because we're only swing trading. We're looking for, okay, here's our lower, here's our upper. I'm looking for something in here. If I break this one, okay, that's on the 3 minutes. Now, I want to know, I'm in the trade. I want to know if the candle is going to reverse and what it's going to do. I jump to the 1 minute, and I'm watching it closely, and then I can look a little closer to see what's happening. So we're running out of time, guys. I hope that helps. But really, if you're scalping, which we do, we're cutting down on the 3 minute, the 1 minute, and I just need enough information once I've done my setup for the day to figure where my range is, and then we work within that range. If we break that range, that's even better. So then I can pull out a little bit. Somebody asks a question, I jump back to the 1 hour, or I jump back to 15 minutes. Usually 15 minutes is good enough. But trading and being in the trade, see, even now, like, okay, look, we broke here, pre-market. So where's it going to go? So, but we need to wrap it up, guys. Now this is very interactive, or we're very reactive to what you want. If there's something you want us to talk about, please, reply to the text, and let's grab whatever information you can, and we'll help you out however we can. We can customize a trading course, or a bit of a course or learning session to whatever you want to learn, and we can focus on it. That's what we're trying to do. Grab one piece at a time, and hopefully that helps, guys. So everyone have a great day, and we will see you all at live trading. So thank you very much.